So I'd like you just to take a moment to close your eyes and relax your body for a moment. Just soften. And then take a breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth, just with a gentle sigh. Yeah. Let your body just relax into the chair, arms soften, feet and legs. And with your next breath, bring the air through your nose and into your heart, and then let the breath exhale through your heart. So in through the nose and out through the heart center, bringing your awareness, your physical awareness, as well as your emotional consciousness into your body and into the area around your heart. As you honor yourself, just take that one moment to honor yourself for being in the chair, for doing whatever it took for you to be here now, in this moment, to receive the love in the sanctuary, to add to that love and help it multiply. And then let that wave of love wash over you with each breath, clearing, softening, and bringing your consciousness into this moment, bringing your heart into this moment, bringing your gratitude into this moment. Take another breath. Exhale through the heart. And let yourself feel that resonating yes. Yes, I'm here. I'm here to receive the love, the hug of spirit that's around me. I'm here to receive the honoring and the message from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. My partner begins to teach the basis and basics of the energy you call numerology. Dear ones, to the creative source, numbers are simply part of physics. There are components of physics that are more esoteric than you know. And this is part of it. When you get into that which is multidimensional, it is even more profound. The numbers that lay there, or those that have numbers next to one another and influence each other, are just like you. They all have energies, just like you. There are some hidden ones that we have spoken about before. To talk about humanity in general, what is happening on the earth in general, or even Gaia. If you ever put it together, humanity is here in a divine appropriateness. And the purpose of humanity is harmony. And you've never had it. That is the purpose of the shift. For you made it past the shift in a profound way. Many of you are starting to see it and proclaim what the ancients said would happen. And it almost always has to start by stirring up the normal. And that is what is occurring on this planet in so many areas. I told you years ago that almost all mathematics should be base 12. It goes beyond that. The universe is structured in 12s. But 12 is simply half of the push-pull energy of the 24. The real number that you could assign to everything on this planet is 6. And 6 is the harmony number. It's the middle of 12, you might say. And then there's the human being, which oddly enough has 23 chromosomes on its way to 24. We told you some time ago something that was laughable. It still is. That the final pair of chromosomes are quantum, multidimensional, and that they will join the other 23 at a point when the consciousness of humanity is ready for it, bringing you to 24, a 6. You are moving from change to harmony, and always have. So you can look at numerology and it tells about the earth, about Gaia, about the universe, about you. And it also starts to paint a picture of how you're seen by God. A God that is not judgmental, a God that does not look down upon you and count the discretions. Instead, it's a God that knows your name and light and sees you as family. The creative source of this universe, this galaxy, all that are in it, that can observe what is going on this planet, are excited about you. And the irony is, you sit and wring your hands in despair. It's bigger than you think. Do you have the wisdom, old soul, to sit back and smile and say, this is going to be an interesting journey? Or do you wring your hands at every single time that is anxious for you? Are you filled with despair because it didn't go your way? When you look at the news and you see what's never happened on this planet before, which we've spoken of now for years, which is an evil army. It's almost like black and white, and it's eliciting black and asking for those of darker energy to come in. And they are. Imagine a recruitment for old energy. And it's here. We told you there would come a day when the line in the sand would be drawn so completely there could be no more fence sitting. On one side of the fence, there would be compassionate old souls, and on the other side, an old energy that would want to survive, would yell and scream and kill and maim, and do everything they could to return to the way it was. And they are not going to succeed, but you get to watch them, don't you? This is new. And some human beings will wring their hands and say, woe is me, woe is earth, woe is humanity, where is this going? And the others will sit back and say, this is interesting. Everything that the Mayans said, the Toltecs, the Hopi, and all through South America, the awakening of the Puma is all about this. It's the awakening of enlightenment on the planet, and you're watching it take place, black and white, starting to battle one another in philosophy, in personality. And you're going to get to see what works and what doesn't in such a way that there can be no question where the fence is. We said no more fence sitting. You cannot pretend to be one thing and not be it, and then be another. It just won't work. It starts to be the age of integrity. Do the numerology on integrity. It'll tell you a lot about the word in your language. It starts to be the age of compassion. All of these things we have told you, and it's here. Now the challenge of all of you will be to grasp the wisdom of it and not let it eat at you. Whether it's relationships or work or your country or the world. We told you a long time ago, there were a number of kinds of people who were old souls that let everything bother them. Everything that isn't perfect. And it'll shorten your life. The old soul knows balance. What things are appropriate and changing, and what things are ready. And it's a balance. The masters of this planet were balanced. Dear ones, this is the goal. Today, right now. Can you just breathe and say it's okay with my soul? No matter what I see, I am a bastion of compassion. I have a bubble around me, right from the creative source. And my balance will be seen by others. And they will be peaceful too. And together in peacefulness and in harmony, we will bring together the planet in the way we know we should. That's the goal. Do you spin or not spin? And then there are the ones who enjoy spinning. And you know who they are. Every time you meet them, the first thing out of their mouth is, here is what's wrong with me. You know who those are. Let's see them start to have a realization in this new energy that's different from any time before, where they start to see the reality of peace and balance in their own souls, in their own biology, and they will live longer for it. Less will go wrong in their body. A body that's a 6 is in harmony with itself. That's numerology. And so it is.
Close your eyes and just drop inside. And another breath, finding that place of silence now and stillness. That place where you can just be. And let that moment expand a little more and a little more, so that the moment of now is exactly right where you are. And it's a relief just to be in that presence. That soft, yielding presence, that presence of love, the presence of right here, right now, this one moment. And you can feel that connection inside of you that says yes to the magic of being in this moment with this family, sharing this day of love, reconnecting, finding new information and old friends, being guided, feeling trust, opening yourself to possibilities and love, and feeling that love wave in the room. Feel it touch your heart. Feel yourself just surrender a little more to love and what that means. That softness, that trust, your heart's intuition, balancing in that place where you honor yourself for being here, yourself for being willing, to receive from an unending well of love.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Many times during channel, we will sense the time to bring you profound information. Things that humans need to know. Today is a bit different. The human condition, how you think, where you are in this evolving planet, is really what is at hand right now. Dear ones, I want to create something in this room. I want to create harmony. Harmony of thought. I want to talk to you personally right now about what you're facing. And for some of you, it happens slow, for others quickly. For you all have a path that is unique. But all of you are facing change. Sometimes it has already occurred in your life, and for some of you it's coming. This shift of the planet, the one that has been foretold by the ancients, is here. The whole reason for Kryon is the shift. I've told you before that many started channeling around 1989, preparing you for what was coming, for the shift that you're in. We have told you that it's easy to be caught up in it and not understand it, because you're in a circumspect box where all you see is you. And now we are pleading for something more. Old souls, you are needed to balance yourself so that those around you can see your balance and change because of it. And there's no reason not to change gracefully. With the wisdom that is yours around so many things, there is no reason to fear the changes at hand. We told you early on that nothing would escape the change. The things that you hold most dear may be altered. They may alter themselves. That there will be changes perhaps in your biology, readjustments and recalibrations in your relationships, in business, in your vocation, your avocation, literally in what you like and don't like. We told some of you early on that there would be greater shifts in how you feel, and the emotions you might have would be higher and lower in these times. And that some of you would even go for medical help because it was so different. And immediately you say, what is wrong with me? That's the profundity of a shift that involves everything. Shifts are not always bad. Many shifts move into benevolence when there was none before, solution when there was none before. And so I ask you, dear human, why is it that when change and shift starts to occur that you didn't expect, you would simply go to the worst common denominator, which is fear? You've all had good things happen unexpectedly. That comes with life. Why do you expect the worst during this one? And the answer is this: because this one is the big one. This one starts to change your consciousness make you ask questions literally you've never asked before, has you perhaps awaken to new truths. And in that, many of you are starting to also become more compassionate. I'm with family. If I could wish anything for you, wish is not the word. If I could envision anything for you, it would be a smile on your face, joy in your heart, and an understanding that goes beyond the reality you see in 3D. Change. If you take the word change, 6 letters, let's design the polarity of it. Let's make 3 letters negative and 3 positive. That's the duality. How do you see it? You start with C. C could represent a coherence of sameness. Let us say you're coherent in that which you have because it doesn't change. Because it's always the same. There is a coherence that makes you want to stay in the same place. It feels good because you figured it out. It feels good because you think you know what's next. And you're more joyful in these situations of coherent belief. And then something changes. Like you have a circle of friends that have always been the same. And suddenly they bring in someone new. Perhaps someone they just met. And now the circle is different. In fact, it interrupts the circle to the point where you want to quit. Because they changed the coherence you had as the group that you were. This is a metaphor for this planet right this minute. The coherence of everything that used to be is starting to move. And often you don't like it at all. Just like the newcomer who changed the attitude, the consciousness, the feeling, and the joy of a circle you thought you knew. What do you do with it? Human nature says you quit. You've had enough, or you fight to keep the circle the same. That's not an old soul, dear one. That's what the 8-year-old in the playground does. Because it's all they have. The H, another negative one, if you want to say, is you have a really hard time with what I'll call the great lie. And the great lie is this. Everything that's going to happen in the future can be judged by what has happened in the past. You simply call upon that which was in order to cognize that which will be. And therefore, no matter what happens in the change, you see it as trouble. Always negative. Nothing good could come of this change, you say, because look at the past, it never did before. And so, the big lie is that nothing will ever, ever change past what you know. We'll say this again so you understand it. The future may be filled with things you've never seen. It may be benevolent in ways you never could see or expect. If suddenly you get sick and you have things happen to you that have never happened before, what's the first reaction? Oh, there was a coherence of health. Why did it change? What's wrong with me, you say. What have I done wrong, you say. And the big lie. That every time there's a change like this, it's bad news. Just look at what's happened in the past. Just look at the other person. This cannot be good. Therefore, you start to close up shop. The big lie. Nothing is new. Old soul, how do you feel about that? I am reciting to you right now human nature that I know is in this room. You judge everything by what has gone before. A is anxiety over it all. Anxiety that will shorten your life with change. When you take a look at the polarity of change, there are those who will understand it, and there are those that will not. Change in itself is an enemy. And it's treated as an enemy because it disrupts what was, which was just fine with you. And now we'll get into 3 positives. We're looking at a polarity of change. And nothing is as it seems. If you have followed the channels of Kryon, if you have followed that which is the story of Michael Thomas in the journey home, the 7 angels who kept talking to him said, Michael, nothing is as it seems here. Don't make up your mind what you think you know. And that entire story is about a man who had a surprise at the end, something that had never happened before, even when he thought he had figured it out. It's a story about his polarity, the dark and light within his mind and brain. Old soul, as you sit there, are you willing to understand you don't know everything? It's not repeated history. These things with you personally and also planetarily are going to shift in ways that have not happened before. There's going to be integrity and compassion that never happened before amongst what you might think is turmoil, because that's all you get to see. Things are not always as they seem. And so the old soul knows that and sits back and watches and does not expect the worst. The health issue that you might have found out about, you can sit back and smile and say, that was them, not me. And you work through it, and you find other ways that nobody has ever told you before to create health when there was no health, to cure the things that nobody has cured. You tend to make up your mind before anything happens. What's going to happen? Not the old soul, not the balanced one. I want you to see in your mind, no matter what it is right now that bothers you, whether it's personal or planetary, I want you to see a clean slate and a blackboard with nothing on it. Nothing. So whatever is written upon it, you can accept, and it won't be surprise, and it won't be necessarily what's happened in the past. There are things that are going to change, that are beyond what you expect. I'll tell you, you think you've seen changes lately that were difficult or you didn't expect? Just wait. There are other things that are going to upset the apple cart of normalcy. It has to be. We told you this. And the old soul is going to watch it like they watch a television program. And they're going to go to bed after the program and sleep like a baby, because they know they're part of the shift and their balance is easy to come by. They've got it figured out. They are part of the world. They don't have to participate past being balanced. That's the job of an old soul. To have the integrity to speak out of the things that they have to believe. That is part of the old soul. To do it all with balance and love and compassion. That is part of the old soul. It's beautiful. how an old soul creates change and reacts to change and is part of change. G is the great gift. Can you imagine a time where whatever you're worried about right now, can you imagine when you would look back and say, that was the greatest gift of my life, the greatest gift of our time? Something happened that caused me to do something I never would have done before, that put me in a place that is peaceful, beautiful with the people that I love, instead of dramatic with others who don't agree. And you can look and say, I would never, ever have been here in this beautiful place without that gift, what at the time seemed tumultuous. That's the beauty of the wisdom of an old soul. Being able to see a gift in turmoil. You're actually a precog of your own consciousness. You're able to see right now and feel where it's going before it goes there, so you can relax. Dear ones, things may not go where you think they will, even in a benevolent way. Would you accept something better? Would you accept another surprise beyond the one that you have personally now? An old soul will, because they'll understand that they are part of the greatest shift in humanity, one that sociologists will talk about in the future. When human nature itself started to move past that which it had ever been in history. We have spoken of this so many times. Those of you who listen are tired of hearing it. And I'll tell you, don't ever get tired of hearing good news. Because the more you hear it, the more you'll cognize it, the more you'll live it, the more you believe it, and the more you'll realize, dear ones, the creative source that I represent right now is telling you the truth. You'll get through it. Can you relax with the truth? You'll get through it. It's beautiful. E. E could stand for so many things. Let it stand for beautiful energy. The energy of completion, compassion, balance, understanding, and a good night's sleep. Do you realize how well you sleep when all is well in your life? It is. You may think all is not well in your life, and I'll tell you, that's polarity. That's you deciding what's wrong instead of what is wrong. Family, you sit in the greatest shift that ever was when it comes to humanity. You start going in the direction that will eventually create a beautiful scenario of a planet that never will war. And in the process, you're going to have to slog through some things. It may take a generation more for this to happen. The classic example, we give it yet again, was the Israelis, which you then called Israelites, who came out of slavery. The oldest and darkest energy that you can imagine, that enslaved them and their children and shortened their lives and made life hell for a very long time. And when the release came, you would think that this would be the most joyful thing possible, and all there was complaints. And then they marched in the desert in a circle for 40 years. And I'll tell you why yet again. You cannot take those who have had the consciousness of slavery and all their past lives and all their lives and take them into the glorious promised land, because it won't work. A whole generation had to die. They didn't live that long back then. And the children did not have that. And then they could move. Even the one who led them couldn't go. Not really. Not really. That's how powerful the past is to your future. Are you getting it? You cannot then take an old energy consciousness and simply reframe it overnight. I'm giving you the ABCs. That's what I do. That's why I came. And that's why I'll continue. To give you this good news in pieces and parts that you can understand and work with, so that you won't have to die and come back. That you can do it while you're alive and here as an old soul. We need it now. So do you. Old soul, expect to live longer than you expect to live. Watch your language. Because by habit, you start telling of your own demise. By habit. Watch the words that come out of your mouth. Because they really do set a pattern for the reality of who you are. Think to yourself, there's a grand machine listening to every word, and that machine will deliver what you ask for. And think of what you're asking for. Think so hard that you may stop and reframe that which you say to others. Let the integrity of all of this sink in. You don't have to talk as fast if you don't want to. Think about what you're saying. And reframe words into benevolent, compassionate things that you expect for yourself. The affirmations are the key, and we have said this before. Make your own affirmations and say them. Let your body hear who you are. For this is the order that you're placing. Yet again, I talk about this, because that is the reality of your culture and your life. You go to a place, you sit down, you place an order, and it arrives. That is how clear this is for your life in this energy. You've got to start thinking out of what was, or what you think will be, into a new earth with a new human. You're saying it right now. Hear it. When? When will it happen? Not soon enough. Not soon enough for you. There is learning. Doesn't it make sense? You've only just arrived into this energy. There's going to be learning. And there will be some who will pass over and come back and continue. But when you come back, I've said this before, you'll be aware of what's happened. You won't make the mistakes you made before, and you'll continue who you are. There'll be a new sense delivered from your Akash, and you will remember what you're here for. It could be indeed a while before you start to see these things manifesting on your news. And yet, many of you are seeing them manifest in your personal life now. You start small and get big. It's a great message of what truly is happening on the planet. Finally, I say this. Make no mistake. You don't have to be of a certain belief for any of this to happen. Major religions on the planet teach compassion. Watch for this, for they will start to morph as well. And what they will do is they'll start seeing one another differently. Watch for this. There'll be forgiveness. Watch for this. There'll be a realization that they're all on the same track with the same Creator. Watch for this. You don't have to be what you call a New Ager to participate in one of the grandest changes that have ever taken place. It's going to be intrinsic. It's going to be something that is absolutely known. How you will act and what to do. That's who you are, old soul. Let the change begin. And so it is.